Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
International human rights law recognizes everyone's right to an adequate standard of living, including adequate housing. Despite the central place of this right within the global legal system, well over 1 billion people are not adequately housed. Millions around the world live in life or health-threatening conditions, in overcrowded slums and informal settlement, or in other conditions which do not uphold their human rights and their dignity. This is Housing Development, where we discuss housing affordability and accessibility to Nigerians. On today's episode, we're looking at housing deficit and the upsurge of shanty towns, as well as informal settlement in Nigeria and government interventions. Before we look into that, let's watch the trending news in the housing sector. I am Flora Ani, your housing diva.
The Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, says 21 trillion naira will be required to effectively bridge the housing gap, despite efforts by governments across different levels. Says Nigeria's housing deficit remains huge. The Vice President stated this in Sokoto at the groundbreaking for the construction of a 500-unit housing estate by the state government. Shettima commended the state governor, Ahmed Aliyu, for his efforts to address the housing needs of his people, adding that Nigeria has a deficit of 28 million houses and will need 21 trillion naira to meet the housing needs. Governor Aliyu also added that the housing estate will be for civil servants and will be sold to them when completed on an owner-occupier basis. The family of Ayashina have been thrown into mourning following the collapse of a building owned by the family in Ojodu Abiodun in Ifo local government area of Ogun State that saw two of their daughters killed over the weekend. The incident, as gathered, occurred due to a mudslide following a downpour. The 16-year-old Suliyat and her 25-year-old elder sister Nofisat were trapped in the collapsed building. While speaking, the State Public Relations Officer Odutola Omolola, who confirmed the incident, said the family that the victims be buried immediately. Property developers have turned away from commercial banks and embraced affordable housing finance options for the low to middle income market due to the absence of long-term borrowing and high cost of loans. Many developers revealed that lending from banks has become unsustainable if they are to maximize returns on investments. Hence, their search for new options and development of private equity finance, crowdfunding, bonds, co-funding, and partnership with interested parties, which may not be as friendly as well, but considered less stringent than bank loans. Chairman, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, HDAN Southwest, Mr. Debo Adejada, stated that interest rates on construction loans are becoming high, adding that property developers cannot continue with such situation.
For housing, finance, and construction news, visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Informal settlement continue to remain a part of urban life and have, in many places, increased in size and density, despite effort to eliminate or reduce such settlement for more ordered planned settlement. How can the issue of slums and squatters' settlement be addressed in the country? That is the crux of the matter on Voices on the Street.
Well, it's actually an unplanned settlement, and so is not really planned, so people just get by. People just get by as they can. If they break down and rebuild, what are they going to be rebuilding for? The average person here cannot afford it. The average person here cannot afford it. So I mean, it's very wrong if the government should think of demolishing this place. That's catastrophic. That's adding salt to injury on the lives of the everyday common man. These people are just trying to get by. It's not a crime for them to come into the FCT. That they are in the FCT does not mean they should be terrorized, or they should be, they should be demonized, or make them feel like the scum of the environment. The government should prioritize spending and alleviate poverty of the masses. Give people access to capital. Let people go back to their villages and go and farm. Let people go back to their homes and not necessarily see the FCT as a milking point.
What I want government to do, first and foremost, is security aspects of the life of the citizens. I think you should give your citizens hope. It's hope that the citizens really want. They really want that hope. Nigeria, if you give Nigerians hope that wait for me between now and 2024, Nigeria will accept patience.
I am not comfortable. Everything now is not good. We are no longer enjoying our mandate. The worst part that the masses are passing through now is the government is collecting from us instead of the government making the masses comfortable. This is Wumba in Abuja. The kind of government that we want, a government that will empower the masses.
For me, it's not good for them to do demolition. Make them bring government school come here. As they, not everybody will afford private school. So we need government to come help us bring school, government school, primary school for us here. So we have challenge for that one, for the community here.
What I think the government should provide for me personally, the three basic needs of man, which is food, shelter, and clothing. Then, instead of chasing us away from this rural area, they should take us to an urban area as a good citizen of this country, because we have been exercising our franchise by voting for them, doing other things. I think we should be also taken care of on our own needs too, by providing us social amenities. I think by so doing we will improve. Social amenities such as water, light, especially light and water. I think we are okay. Roads, environmental sanitation. Look at the environment now. It's not clean at all. But we are here. No health facility, nothing of such. So we are believing by the grace of God.
My living condition in this environment is that the government are not treating us well. Hunger full everywhere, especially food stop. People are dying for hunger, no food, no money, no job. The little one people are managing, the demolition is everywhere. So we are not happy about it. Let government bring food stuff down so that poor man will eat.
Welcome back. The need to address the challenge of housing demand in cities have not recorded much success. Informal settlements keep springing up in cities across Nigeria. Due to the degenerated nature of informal settlement, efforts are usually made to improve them. Most of the programs towards the improvement of informal settlement have only addressed the symptoms rather than the causes. How can the issue of slums and squatter settlement be addressed in the country? This report coming up seeks to address informal settlement in Nigeria and government interventions.
In Nigeria, there is a pressing issue confronting both urban and rural dwellers alike, which is informal settlements. Informal settlements are residential areas that do not comply with local authority requirements for conventional or formal townships. They are unauthorized and are located upon land that has not been proclaimed for residential use. Informal settlements are often characterized by overcrowding and limited access to basic services. The population living in these conditions continues to grow, posing numerous challenges. Living conditions within informal settlements are marked by inadequate housing, limited access to clean water and sanitation, and unreliable electricity. Families often live in cramped spaces with little privacy or security. The dire living conditions in informal settlements take a toll on the health and education of residents, particularly children.
We are suffering for this place because we'll be having security challenges, having road challenges, and have primary school challenges. We don't have any primary school, and we don't have a regional health care. That's our challenge, but God help us with one of our brother, Mr. Honorable Mekalangu. That's the only person help us for this community to do us road. That's achievement we achieve for now for federal government. We need government to, our children are crossing to do going primary school. All of our schools here is a private. We don't have any standard federal government school in this Wumba community. So we are crying for federal government that they should try and do us primary school. That's our major challenge on this village. I'm a leader of the palace here, and I'm a commander of Vigilante Group of Nigeria. Since we are here, no any help of government. It's unless Mr. Kalongo came in now.
In the advanced countries of the world, like America and other cities, there's what we call conferral of social benefit system. Under the conferral of social benefit system, what the government do majorly that the government take part of the income of the state, part of the income be given to several states, like being disbursement to several local government chairmen, disbursement to state governors. They take part of it and build something like a city. The city is not just a hotel, but a place where homeless people stay and they are cared for. Those people they have security there, they have buy-born water there, and at any time that anybody get a lucrative job, they leave the city and they pull other people, other numbers who have no home, to replace them in the city there.
The government has recognized the urgency of addressing the informal settlement crisis. Various intervention programs and policies have been put in place to uplift the living conditions of those affected. Initiatives include affordable housing schemes, improved access to clean water and sanitation, and upgrading of infrastructure within informal settlements. While progress has been made, challenges persist. Insufficient funding, bureaucratic hurdles, and sheer scale of the issue remain obstacles to comprehensive change.
We have many challenges here, which is government have to intervene. One, sometimes all this insecurity, but as a vigilante commander has said, he's trying, and also the acting chief, the village head, they are trying. So we need more help from the government.
We could have a community house in other areas of the town where these people can find a way, because sometimes it's hard to get the means to pay for a house rent, especially in the capital center. So, but the only way we can do that is when we have affordable housing. Then these people can have a place, or they can have something to live on. So the government has a role to subsidize house for low-income earners.
Informal settlements in Nigeria remain a complex challenge, but they are not without hope. As a government, communities and organizations work together, there is a potential for positive change.
My name is Architect Ahmed Nengiwa, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development. I hereby endorse the Housing Development Program.
It is time to embrace town planning for sustainable development in the country, where effective town planning is carried out. Social and economic facilities are equitably distributed and accessible to the population. Health challenges will be minimized. Productivity will greatly improve. Wealth will increase, and safety will be enhanced. The enactment of the Nigerian Urban and Regional Planning Law in 1992, which became an Act of Parliament as Cap N138 LFN 2004, stipulates that approval of relevant development control department shall be required for any land development. Let us say no to unplanned settlements. Say no to illegal and unauthorized developments. Say no to land grabbing. Avoid demolition. Let's end the rising proliferation of illegal structures and housing estates. Engage in only approved development. Let's bring sanity back to our land. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners with the support of the Housing Development Advocacy Network.
The program is housing development. Slums, improper housing, informal settlement, or unplanned settlement are terms that are frequently used to describe shanty towns. The emergence of slums are not far-fetched from housing shortages in the country. Therefore, to bridge the existing deficit in housing delivery in Nigeria, there is a need for the government to implement an aggressive housing intervention program so as to increase housing supply. Watch as the settlers share their experience living in shanties.
Urbanization is an ongoing trend in developed and developing countries. With particular reference to Nigeria, studies have shown that many urban centers have been experiencing rapid and continuous growth over the years as people tend to migrate from rural areas to urban centers in order to better their living conditions. However, there has been an inadequacy of necessary infrastructure to meet the needs of the increasing urban populace. Migrants who cannot afford the high rent of housing in urban centers in order to earn their living through self-effort build their shelters on government vacant lands, abandoned buildings, and sometimes even under bridges. A drive through the Lokogoma axis of the nation's capital exposes our crew to a squatter settlement characterized by quick-fix makeshift homes, mostly built with recycled wood, bamboo, zinc, aluminium products, and tarpaulin. The settlement has homes in various states of total disrepair and dirty areas littered with waste. This typical space, according to residents, is also a market as well as home for most of these people who are security guards, bike riders, cobblers, water vendors, alongside their relatives and friends. Some dwellers of this settlement, in an interview with Housing Development Crew, say that most of the makeshift houses they occupy and do business from were recently demolished and also pleaded with government to provide alternative housing for them.
It's not conducive, definitely. We are all human beings. We also have a feeling for human beings also. So you can see it's a federal government rule and they are trying to meet up, at least to feed their family. So you can't stop. At least if you want to stop, you need to make a provision. That's what we are even begging government to make a provision where they can do their business, at least do their business or put their head.
Would there plenty people now? I know we can't. Almost more than 300 people would they here. Yes, sir. Light no day. Water come one person you come do borehole. What would they sell water? One jerka they selling 30 naira. If person one bab, they go pay 50 naira to bab. Now here we dey stay. Now here we dey hustle, getting money to repeat my problem. So my problem is what happens for this country now. I know they're happy. Problem is too much. People are looking for what you go eat. So now they see. Problem is too much. So now what I talk now for our country, government made them help. People are suffer too much.
Most of these makeshift shelters are without basic features such as windows, doors or roofs, which are mostly substituted with used fabrics or polythene materials to protect them, however minimally, from adverse weather conditions. Despite these conditions, this has been a refuge for so many people. The provision of social housing for the people should be one of every nation's primary concerns. The provision of adequate and affordable housing for Nigerians, especially those at the lowest cadre of society, will initiate a notable growth as it will provide shelter for the people, bring about lots of infrastructural developments, and meet some social needs of the populace. It will also generate an increase of activities within the housing and building industry, thereby creating more job opportunities for both skilled and unskilled labor. This will in turn result in increased productivity and a subsequent rise in the country's GDP, thus improving its economic development.
The need to enhance the living condition of people in any society cannot be overemphasized. The health status of people has serious consequences on the economy of the country where they reside, as a healthy workforce is a requirement for a vibrant economy. I'll be back in a moment.
We don't have road, and you see at times if it is raining, you will see a lot of people will go by the roadside. They'll be thrown dirt on the main road. We also doesn't have toilet. You see a toilet, you still have to 30 tenants, they are using one. You can't leave your door open, go and buy something. Before you will know, Babambola will enter. By the time you will take them to police station, 1 hour is too much, the police people will release them. In fact, we don't know what is happening.
This is the situation with many citizens in not just Nigeria. Are we ready for this conversation? What is the plight of an average Nigerian citizen in regards to housing? Housing is a fundamental human right, and these issues must be addressed.
So glad you're still with me. The Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has assured his unwavering support towards achieving credible housing data in Nigeria. The collaboration was reiterated when the minister received a delegation of the National Population Commission led by the chairman, Honorable Nasir Isa, in Abuja. Our correspondent will give more details.
The Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has assured his firm support towards achieving credible housing data in Nigeria.
As the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, me and my colleague, I think we are committed to driving this focus on data in line with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, JSFR. We must work to establish accurate, credible, verifiable, and scientific sound data on the housing deficit and the living conditions of the homes that Nigerians live nationwide. This is important, and indeed it is only through a thorough and comprehensive understanding of the housing deficit that we can devise effective strategies to addressing the housing shortage.
The collaboration was reiterated when the minister received a delegation of the National Population Commission, NPC, led by the chairman, Honorable Nasir Isa Kwara, in Abuja. According to Dangiwa, Nigeria has struggled with conflicting and unverified figures regarding its housing deficit, with estimates ranging from 17 million to 28 million.
Well, our objective of this meeting is to address one of Nigeria's most pressing data challenges, accurately determining the extent of housing deficit in Nigeria. This has been a source of embarrassment to us. For years, our nation is grappling with the conflict and unsubstantiated figures regarding this crisis. The range estimates varying from 17 million to 28 million has not yet only been a source of embarrassment, as I said earlier, but also a hindrance to effective policy making and strategic planning.
Dangiwa emphasized the need for accurate, credible, verifiable, and scientifically sound data on the housing deficit and the living conditions of homes across Nigeria.
I was thinking I left 17 million last year when I left FNB, and now when I came back, I made it getting to 28 million. I don't know how it gets to that figure. So I just believe that it is time to change this narrative and take a coordinated action to bring clarity and credibility to our understanding of the housing deficit and the state of housing in Nigeria. This is because policies and projects that are shaped by data are not only more effective but also more accountable to the people they serve. If you don't have data, we can't even plan for the nation.
Such data, he said, is essential to develop effective strategies to tackle the housing shortage and ensure that every Nigerian has access to safe and affordable housing. He also added that the collaboration with the National Population Commission, particularly in the context of the upcoming national census, represents a pivotal step in achieving a successful housing data.
So it just came to my mind that collaborating with the National Population Commission, particularly in the context of national census, is a critical step in this journey. The census is a timely exercise, one that provides invaluable opportunity to gather precise and comprehensive data on our population housing needs.
While speaking, the chairman, Honorable Nasir Isa Kwara, also assured that the Commission is working tirelessly with the National Assembly to ensure that the upcoming census is conducted following the United Nations recommendation.
I want to assure you that the next census will be conducted by the grace of God without hitches in the area of technology and all other aspects.
He added that the Commission is ready to work with relevant agencies in achieving a successful population and housing census.
That's the much I can bring on today. Join me next week for another informative episode of Housing Development. Until then, I remain your housing diva, Flora Annie. To have a lovely day ahead.